He adjusted the story so that the human women weren't turned into mama squid, but instead just had their uteruses tinkered with.
Genetic compiler, incubation chamber. Yep, this here's some kind of baby maker.
Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies it's just a fact, and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. Today we're diving into r/TalesofNeckbeards. Oh my god, we are continuing the OCTOPREGBEARD saga. Yes, indeed. I got my eye on a couple of little one-offs and stuff, but I also want to continue pushing through the series that we do currently have open. I considered taking a bit of a day off just because the ending of Osgood hit me so hard yesterday. We wrapped up Stealthbeard. I really like the ending. Not the perfect ending, but I guess it was about as good as it's gonna get. But oh my god, Osgood just totally went off the rails. I don't really have the words for what happened there. It affected me deeply, but I'm gonna power through. We're gonna do something a little bit lighter today, I do hope, while laughing at this beardo's writing. I hope it'll work to cheer me up just a little bit. I know you guys probably need that too. Dang. I definitely appreciate all the love, the support. That is why I can continue pushing on through. I hope that you'll check out my podcasts and whatnot as well. We'll get some more plugs and disclaimers out of the way, and then we will dive right into some Tales of Neckbeards cringe. OCTOPREGBEARD, or Why I Don't Take Fetish Commissions, part number 4. If you've missed parts 1 through 3, those links are in the description. Hello again, readers. I'm a writing coach specializing in science fiction and fantasy, and I tell the occasional story about my most neckbeardy customers and the general weirdness that I encounter in my line of work, anonymized, of course, to protect both the innocent and the bearded. I go by the moniker Anonymous Griper, and I am at your service. And we definitely appreciate being serviced in such a way. I shouldn't have phrased it like that. This is gonna get weird enough as it is. Let's just jump into the cast list. We got OP, a specialist writing coach based in Wales, UK. OCTOPREGBEARD, or Octo for short, a customer of mine with a fetish for pregnant women. Specifically, pregnant squid women. And the mama squid is OCTOBEARD's fictional species. Humanoid, yet somehow boneless, victims of a virus that wiped out 95% of their female population, and they are now trying to repopulate, to the dismay of everybody that might possibly read this book. The saga up until now has been about the major themes of OCTOPREGBEARD's work. Click here for part 1, or in the description, since if you click the video, all you're going to do is pause it. In the last part, I mentioned a consultation. Well, this chapter is all about how that 1-hour consultation went, and what happened afterwards. Oh yes, we are in for a train wreck today, but hopefully a train wreck of a lighter caliber than the past couple of days. I should probably explain why OCTOPREGBEARD booked this consultation. A commission with me requires input from both myself and my client. They describe their species, I write what I can in a Google document, and ask in the document about anything that they haven't mentioned or anything that generally doesn't add up. They answer the next time they have free time, and then I pick it up as soon as I can, write a little more, and ask more questions as any other gaps or inconsistencies are revealed, and we just basically keep on doing that until the species is fleshed out enough to make writing a story about them easy, or easier, as the case may be. This requires good communication from both sides of the commission. I usually can't tell at first whether the communication is going to flow with the given client because I need to know the species fairly well before I'm able to recognize when something is being left unsaid. As you might imagine, passivity in my clients can become problematic, but I like to hold back at first when I see my client being uncommunicative in case it's less a problem of passive aggression and more a case of poor vocabulary or being distracted by the offline world or something like that. There's an offline world? Nah, I'm kidding. But I say probably if they're not trying to work with you, like do the old back and forth, that should be addressed relatively quickly. Otherwise, it might be passive aggression. And to let something like that fester, I mean, that's never going to turn out well. Then again, I am always the sort of person to like confront a problem head on, even if it's awkward for everybody. I'm like, whatever, it's fine. I gotta say what I gotta say. Prior to booking this commission, OCTOPREGBEARD admitted that he had difficulty answering my questions about his species if I wrote them in the Google Docs document that we were working from. But he could answer them in real time in Discord. No. Sit down, take your time writing it out. I don't want to hear it from your stupid mouth. That struck me as strange, but I guess it must be possible, for folks can have all sorts of communication barriers. So at the time, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Shouldn't do that either. It's not gonna be as well thought out as it would be if it was being written. You know what I mean? But again, all right, OP, you do you. As long as you're getting paid, I guess it's kind of whatever. Anyways, that's where we both were at when we had this consultation on Discord. I asked him about several aspects of his species to try and get clear answers to them and work out where the snarls were. They included, 1. Why was OCTOPREGBEARD so keen for the mama squid to just be happy to import their food from off-planet, despite the fact that their last interaction with an alien civilization had nearly wiped them out? His answer? He needed an excuse for the mama squid to be talking to off-world civilizations. Okay, that was fine. I figure that there were other ways that could be achieved. I forget whether I explicitly offered to find another way, but I know I made a note to watch out for opportunities for this that weren't as risky. Another question was how the virologist who created the plague got convinced to almost murder his entire species, as the current line of, he panicked, didn't really fit. OCTOPREGBEARD decided that he would get Stockholm Syndrome for the space pirates. I looked up the process that leads to Stockholm and confirmed that this was workable. Yeah, but doesn't Stockholm Syndrome only happen under like super specific conditions? I was reading something about that being debunked as a syndrome. I also asked him how the world he was imagining added to a utopia to him when it looked like a dystopia to me. His answer, the mama squid cooperate and feel a sense of unity. He told me that he hadn't thought of it any deeper than that. At this point, you just use the words. I don't even think you know what the words mean, bro.
What are you doing? I don't know what I'm doing.
You heard it here first, folks. China cooperates and they feel a sense of unity. Ergo, China is a utopia. Yeah, boy. I asked whether he was prepared for the mama squid to be seen in a negative light over their positive attitude towards manipulating the genes of other aliens. He said, yeah, he was fine with them having a few imperfections like this. Yeah, that's a little bit more than skin deep, isn't it? That is a deep imperfection to get over. They just practice eugenics because they're quirky.
I'm like quirky. I'm like silly.
Shut the fuck up!
Okay, bro. I asked the specifics of how their telepathy worked, which had been pretty hazy up to this point, and apparently he issued no answer to that. He's basically like, yeah, the telepathy is only in there so that the mama squid can control the drones, because OP was against the idea of barbs being used as like shock trooper slaves, but also getting treated well, which doesn't make any freaking sense at all. So yeah, now they're just robots powered by the mind.
What is my purpose?
Pass the butter.
But don't ask how the mind powers work. Nobody really knows. I asked why, if the mama squid were capable of turning one whole freaking species into another, that is like human women into squid women, why didn't they just turn a number of their overwhelmingly male population into females? He didn't have an answer for that. He adjusted the story so that the human women weren't turned into mama squid, but instead just had their uteruses tinkered with.
Genetic compiler, incubation chamber. Yep, this here's some kind of baby maker.
Yes, it's all innocent. It's all in good fun. And yeah, after that, they gave birth to squid babies. That sounded nightmarish to me, but I decided to let that slide for now. That is horrifying. I absolutely hate everything about that. And I love the fact that he straight up didn't have an answer. See, at least in the Google Doc, you could have sat there and tried to invent one. But in the Discord call, he's just like, yeah, I don't know. What an idiot. I asked what his impressions were of my observations about the multi-generational impact of slavery on an entire race, which his subservient race would likely experience if they had the intelligence to act as soldiers without being regularly wiped out. He said that he'd switch to using biosuits or avatars as soldiers, and he changed the story so that the subservient species never existed in the first place. Yeah, they're drones now. They're drones powered by mind powers that we don't know how that works either. Sure, why not? He just didn't want to deal with any of those implications. He's like, whatever, just use robots again. I asked why the mama squid, having fought a war with a spacefaring civilization, were so casual about having thousands or even millions of starports throughout their world just for the sake of receiving their groceries. A clear security risk, as I saw it. He said, these starports could only be opened with the right key, which was the DNA of an authorized individual. This seemed exploitable to me, cloning, reverse engineering, and whatnot, but I moved on with our conversation to get through the whole agenda. Just the DNA? You could get DNA from anything. You find a hair, you cut off a hand. Guess what? Now I have the DNA to unlock this door. Yeah, it's not gonna work, I'll tell you that. I asked whether he wanted his species to be vertebrates or not, once and for all. And he said ultimately that he wanted them to be humanoid, so he was happy for them to have a skeleton. I like the series of fluid-filled bags as bones, a la Kif from Futurama. That was a quality comment.
The quickening.
I think that we should go with that. And then he could still like be aquatic and stuff. Or just make him live underwater. But then I guess you got the problem of like how to import all these human women. We imported thousands and they all drowned. Whoops. I asked why the women seemed basically indifferent about the loss of their autonomy and relegation to the role of wombs for rent. He said that their indifference was meant to convey moral strength in response to being among the very few survivors. This had troubling implications, but that was something that I would discuss further in the Google Doc file. If he wanted to book another consultation to talk about that, we could, but we were nearly out of time, and I had more questions to ask. Wow, you're really packing it in here, ain't you? I figured that he'd, like, just completely derail the thing. But OP is keeping it very professional. I like that. Props to you for staying on task. Lord knows that's one of my weaknesses. I asked him how he wanted us to work with the low possibility that the few remaining women would even want to have children, bearing in mind that they would be traumatized, their infrastructure would be crumbling, and any girls born into this situation would have an assigned role in life that mothers might not wish their daughters to have. We discussed the next point, which resolved OCTOPREGBEARD's answer to this. And that question was regarding his figure of a 95% death rate for the women. I already knew he had a thing for pregnant women, So I asked how come he'd made this his premise, as there couldn't be many pregnant women if there weren't that many women in the first place. He told me that he was happy to switch to having 80% of the overall population die, and to just leave gender out of the equation. He also corrected me that the story he had in mind wouldn't need many pregnant women, only one. The one. He did, however, specify that the pregnant woman would be from Earth. This human lady squeezing out like a little squid baby Neo from the Matrix or something. And he's just totally pulling every figure out of his ass. He's like, 80% of everybody, 95% of females, it's basically the same, right? No, dude, it is not at all. 80% of everyone comes with a whole slew of other problems. Oh, it's hard to watch. It's hard to stand by and assist this, I'm sure. There's no amount of money on earth that would make me put myself through this. We had to go through all of this in a fairly quick-fire fashion in order to cover everything, and even then we went like 20 minutes over time. I don't like blurring boundaries in my work as it sets a precedent, but I suspected that we'd end up wasting even more time if I didn't take the opportunity to get clear answers to all of this stuff during this consultation. I mean, you got some answers to some stuff. I don't know if they count as clear answers, though. But again, props for staying on task. In the days and weeks after the consultation, I kept working on the mama squid, but OCTOPREGBEARD didn't seem particularly interested in spending time integrating the new workarounds. I figured it was up to him to tell me if he was unhappy with the workarounds so we could try and find some new solutions. Now, something else that had been going on throughout our commission that I didn't mention here at first, most times, whenever he or I had an update for each other about the species profile, he would finish up by telling me about his dad. OCTOPREGBEARD's dad had cancer and was deteriorating fast and having the occasional emergency. Oh man, I was trying to get away from serious life stuff today. Somehow it just manages to find me. I am sorry to hear about this. It's super heavy stuff, but I am 100% sure that OCTOPREGBEARD is going to manage to make it weird somehow. I'm going to preface this part by explaining my position on the subject of sick parents. I've been estranged from both of my parents for about 8 years, and I am still delighted to be free. Despite that, I often feel a sense of false nostalgia when I see a good parent-child relationship. I wish that I'd had a good relationship with mine, and sometimes it hits me right in the feels to see someone else get that. I personally cannot fathom feeling upset by the idea of my parents getting sick because, frankly, and I know that saying this will sound harsh, but it is true, I don't care whether they're alive or dead. They genuinely could have died of COVID, yet knowing that isn't creating any urgency in me to check up on them to see if they're alright. Oh, I don't know if I can go along with you on that one, OP. I'm sure you have your reasons and such, but didn't you ever see the Fast and the Furious movies where Vin Diesel's talking about family?
I don't have friends. I got family.
I'm surprised that didn't turn you around. There's like 8 of them movies. Watch them all. You'll feel different. See, I take something so serious and I boil it down into bullshit. Beautiful. Because I can't quite connect with the fear of losing parents to illnesses, I'm careful around this subject. However, a few years ago, I had a set of experiences that added a whole new layer to my feelings on this. I developed a writing commission group. If you wanted to commission a story, you could come to me, and I would find you a writer who was as passionate about the subject of your desired commission as you were, had capacity to take your commission, and was within your budget. This setup attracted a lot of commissioners. Were any of them looking for pregnant squid girls? Most of my problem with this system came from my writers. Yeah, the people who are actually doing the work. A brainwave, an idea doesn't do shit, man, unless you put in the legwork. or throw money at it for somebody else to put in the legwork. But sometimes you gotta throw a lot more money at it because people might not want to do the legwork. Anyways, I had a total of 12 writers at the height of this group, and I had the same experience around 10 times. A writer would accept a commission, send me the first chapter, and then completely lose interest. If I chased them up, they'd either ghost me, tell me they had exams to do, or tell me that one of their parents had been taken ill. Well, I hope you didn't pay them in advance, I'll say that. Like I said, I don't mean to be unsympathetic when I hear this, but the sheer number of ailing mums and dads in this small group of people seemed unlikely. Yet, I couldn't prove that any one person was lying. Either way, I became well aware that sick parents were a common subject that people might use simply for the sake of leverage. Yeah, leverage and clout, and I hate it. When your parents are actually sick, ain't nobody gonna believe you. It's the squid beard who cried wolf. OCTOPREGBEARD told me about his dad's sickness a total of 6 times, but only whenever we made contact with one another about the commission. I found it really difficult to tell what the hell OCTOPREGBEARD actually wanted from me when he did this. We have never been friends. I offered sympathy. I told him that he could take his time with his half of the commission if he needed to, but that didn't seem to be the answer that he wanted. Like I said, passivity in clients can be tricky to deal with. Sometimes I can't tell with the commissions underway whether they simply lack the vocabulary to tell me what they need, or whether they're using passivity as a smokescreen. I would say that it is most often a smokescreen. If people are this interested in writing or commissioning writing, then they probably have some vocabulary. Just grunt at me. Say, "Dad's sick," you know? Okay, I get it. Sorry that happened. Come back at me when you're ready. Just give me something. Getting ghosted like that? Ugh, that's not a good feel. Especially in a professional relationship. Semi-professional? One half is professional, the other's not. Goddamn. I discussed this with a friend who suggested that the next time OCTOPREGBEARD did this, I should offer to just shelve the project. That way, if his sick dad was such a problem that it was impacting his enjoyment of or focus on this project, then shelving it would be a nice gesture, so we could pick it back up whenever he wanted. World building really should be fun after all, otherwise what is the point? Alternatively, if he was using his dad for leverage, this approach would nudge him to stop. OCTOPREGBEARD didn't take long to bring it up again, so I went ahead and used the above strategy. What was his answer?
It's okay. We don't have to stop the project. I'm just upset about my dad, that's all.
This part's getting long, so I'll break it here. But in the next part, I'll talk about the gigantic Patreon pledge and the whole strange story around that. I know the phrase, "You won't believe what this neckbeard did with a £175 donation." It sounds clickbaity, but honestly, I don't think that you will. And that sets up what happened pretty well, so I'll get it written up soon as. Want to read part 5? Here you go! TLDR. I talked with a beard customer about how he wants to integrate the fetishy bits into his world building and manage his habit of crying on my shoulder about a sick relative. I'm conflicted about jumping into part 5. It is the last part at the moment, but wrapping 3 series in 3 days seems ambitious. I'm just gonna take it nice and slow today, a little bit of a shorter episode. I hope that you guys don't mind. While the conversation and the little Discord meeting did provide some cringe, I think the cringiest thing of all is him constantly bringing up his dad's sickness. Like, okay, condolences. You know what I mean? Like, what else do you want me to say about it? He's like looking for some sort of sympathy or clout, or I can't even really put my finger 100% on why people choose to do this, but it's cringy every time. My main experience with this is like when I'm streaming and people drop into the chat, don't even say hello, and just start dumping trauma. They're like, "Hey, my mom died." And of course, everything that's going on in the stream has to pause to say, "Okay, well, I'm sorry that happened. Condolences. Now we need to move on with what the hell we were doing before you kind of tried to derail everything." I don't want to say that they're faking or anything like that, but there is a time and a place and people that you should be bringing that up with, and I am not those people. This is not the time or the place. And sometimes I think putting it in blunt terms like that really can't help. I mean, I'm relatively good at that. Sometimes it makes for an awkward conversation, but I'd much rather have one awkward conversation for them than 20 awkward conversations for myself. You know what I mean? Bite the bullet, bro. It's whatever. I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, I hope that you like, comment, and or subscribe. Maybe share the video around. That is an MVP play indeed. We got a bunch of plugs and playlists and podcasts in the description if you'd like to check me out somewhere over on the internet. I'd really appreciate you clicking through there. We've also got my social medias, of course, Twitter, Discord, Facebook. Come on through. Say hello. I love that. And of course, we can't forget my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons. I would like to thank them as I do every episode. I will thank them, Jerry much. So thank you very much. Robert Waits, Baron Von Waggy Pants, Jarhead Jerry, Oorah, River Jerry, blah, Rogue, TSM Kirby, Twisted Child, Captain Clown Jerry, Honk Honk, Cinnamon Susie, Fire Drink, Giggle Jerry, Hey Jerry, Liverson Loves Jerry, Sailor Revolver, Sergeant Jelly Donut, the Jerry behind the slaughter, ooh, Suntere Jerry, Baka, Aaron W, Althea Blue, Anunnaki, Asian Persuasion Jerry, yeah, Assassin Pug Jerry, Bang Bang, Grizzly, Bailey Joy, Bearded Jerry, watch out for that guy, Becca, Bitch Gremlin, Blade the Hero, Blameless Fish, Blip Bloop Jerry, Camille Sarah, Cherish Kitsune, Commander J Tank, Corporal Admiral, Lieutenant Private General, Tigerian Princess, Furry Worry, Ooh Woo Jerry, yeah, something like that, Deltarune Jerry, Dinosaur Nightlight, Disposable Waifu, Aaron Lennox, Gypsy, Hadrian BR, Heathcliff, a pimp named Jay Crisp, yes, you have to say the whole thing, J.M. Coon, Jerry with an I, that is a different Jerry. The original Jerry? Yes, it is Jerry. We also got Jerry Blacktail, Jerry T. Harapist, Jerry that's more Jerry than the other Jerrys, maybe, John Hero, Simboofa, because if your boofa is free, Jury, tell it to the jury. Kira M, Kidsikin, Lady Jerry Nix, Miss Monday, Little Lone Wolf, Lord Lion-O, Jackass Rule, Vanilla Bell, Melgar the Destroyer, Mint Chip, Mirthful Baker, my boy Nat with Nick, Natari, Nightmare Jerry, oh no, Origami Jerry, gotta fold them all, Phantom of the Pines, Jerrykins and Jerry Beth, Sidestep, Redwind, Rosemary Miller, Rousteller, Satori, Cider Drinker, Serrated Ash, Staples, Jerry, Stephanie Goodner, Super Saiyan Grand Admiral, Mr. Jerry, Synaptic Boomstick, Brilliant Tamago, Tapioca Boogaloo, Tato Ferret, Teddy the Police, the 10-Ton Monster, the One True Fusky, the Jerry who's second only to the mighty ReddX, maybe so, that's the one with the marble, you guys remember him. Token Black Jerry, Treeberg, Wilmags, you're a wizard Jerry. Yet another different Jerry. A normal Jerry, former neighbor of 211 Jerry. Come back, Jerry. Oh no. Of course, there is the hunter of Jerrys, devourer of all things tasty. It is Tom. Oh no. Admiral A-Tank. Amara, AZ, Banished Knight, Cake Jerry, the original different Jerry. California Jerry Girl, hooray! Carrot Jerry, good for your eyes. Chris Mesca, Cinnamon Bunny Dog, Crip Jerry's, watch out! Cuban Jerry, Define Jerry, Ghost of Alpha, Goose says honk, HMT Mayor, Hydra Jerry, Irish Wristwatch. Tongue Twister Patreons incoming, I swear it. Jerry's Irradiated Jam, fan favorite, Jerry Aldo Rivera. Jerry Bean, Jerry Roxers, Jerry Zilla, Destroyer of Tom. John Indoors, JRPG, that is Jerry Role-Playing Game, also known as Bloody Butterfly Gaming, KJW, Kajow, Crafty Kitty Cat, Lapichi Jerry, ooh, Life of a Guardian, Little Land Woods, maybe next time, Midnight Sun, Milkfed Gimp, Miss Duchess, Naga Viper, Organic Cam, Princess Rosalie Jerry, congrats on the marriage, Ghosty, Ryga, Raptor Art, Saints Blessing, Silurian King, Snary, that's Snom Jerry, Spoonie the Road, Steampunk Ellie, the artist formerly known as Jerry, the original Jerry, who's not the original Jerry, the most different Jerry, maybe. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact, and it is totally science. Go ahead and look it up, and by it, I mean another ReddX video, if you please. Thank you guys all so much for supporting on the Patreon. Absolutely killing it, up to 154 patrons. Good God. Obviously, I do hope some more people will consider subscribing on the Patreon, but if you can't do it right now, don't sweat it too hard, friends. I just appreciate you coming on through, hanging out with me, and I hope that you come on back and hang out with me again tomorrow. In order to do so, you need to keep yourself safe out there. Wash your hands, but also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy today. Maybe like, watching some more ReddX videos. Please. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I shall see you in the next one. And until then, friends, bye-bye.